Morning, gang. Okay, happy Sunday. And I know somebody's gonna make the comment, no, my face isn't red. I'm not worried about it. It's just the lighting. So don't worry about that. Okay. So everybody's sick of winter already. I know I am. Okay. After a snowstorm. Yeah, okay. It's in Tennessee, that was a snowstorm. All right. And 10-degree temps over Christmas. It was 60 degrees yesterday, and it's supposed to be in the 40s all week. So not warm by any means, at least the 40s, but certainly better than snow and ice. But now that the holidays are over, it's time to focus on the next big event we have to look forward to, and that's spring. Okay. Springtime for me means planting my gardens and the spawn for fishing. So it's my favorite time of year. Okay. Everything greens up again, the flowers bloom. It just makes me a little more cheerful. But of course, it's still 2 to 4 months away, depending on where you live. So that doesn't mean there's nothing to do now. Now is the time to prep. Yeah, I said it. Okay. Prepping, okay, for your spring planting season. Now, there was an interesting comment on yesterday's video where one of you guys was told by somebody else, inevitably not a prepper, that it's too late to learn how to garden. Okay. Well, that phrase was definitely spoken by a guy who plans on showing up at your doorstep, hat in hand, asking for food. All right. I hope the response to him is something like, maybe you need to learn how to garden when he comes up to your doorstep. Okay. It's never too late to learn anything. I don't care if you're 80. Okay. As long as your brain still works, you have the ability to learn things. Okay. Now, I'm no master gardener by a long shot, but I've gardened for a while and I've gotten good at some things. I still suck at some others, but the important thing is always to try, okay? The easiest way to fail at something is to never even try. You know, when a reporter asked Thomas Edison about the light bulb, the reporter said, "How did it feel to fail 1,000 times?" And Edison replied, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." And truer words have never been spoken. Okay. With failure comes the knowledge of what doesn't work. All right. Look at a prepper's staple, WD-40. Anybody know why it's named that? Okay. Because it was the 40th recipe that was tried in an effort to displace water so as to protect the outer skin of the Atlas missile from rust and corrosion. It's a good thing they didn't stop at try number 39, huh? Okay. Gardening's all trial and error. What worked for me gardening in Las Vegas doesn't necessarily work for me gardening in Tennessee. Different soil, different climate, temperature, humidity, pests, etc., etc. So what do? I try. Some things work pretty much everywhere, so I started there. What I knew, and that's what I wanted to start with today. About a month ago, I did a video on preparing garden beds using a lasagna method for creating soil. I use a mixture of topsoil, compost, straw, and manures. It's served me well in every climate I've lived in, so nothing's changed there. If you want to revisit that video, it's entitled Laying the Groundwork. Okay. Now, I'm still working, on one last 24 by 40 raised bed I have that I'm going to plant my potatoes, my sweet potatoes, and my corn in. Okay. I was actually unloading a couple of tons of manure yesterday. So I'm going through this journey with y'all, all right? This will only be my second year gardening in Tennessee. Last year I had some successes. Last year I had some failures. My peppers were atrocious last year. I'm going to do something different this year, okay? I learned from it. If you already have your beds ready, or your planters, or your pots, or your garden boxes, or whatever you're going to use this year, now's the time to plan where everything's going to go. I hope by now you already have your seeds, because I'm already hearing about seed shortages, and we're still at least a month away from even starting our seeds, in our little cups here for most climates. Okay. Planning where everything goes is very important. There's a science behind it after all. It's called companion planning. Now, if you look online, you're going to get some conflicting information about this. As again, different people have different ways of describing success. However, you will find some tried and true reasons. For example, you don't want to plant things like cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts near each other. Why? Brassicas all have the same common pests. And if you plant them near each other, an infestation in your cabbage, say a cabbage worm, okay, will likely destroy your broccoli, your cauliflower, and your Brussels sprouts as well, okay? Instead, plant your cabbage near your potatoes. They don't share the same pests. So even if you got cabbage worms in your cabbage, they're not going to destroy your potatoes, okay? Then you get into something like acidic soil, okay? What plants like that? Like celery and zucchini, okay? Versus a more alkaline soil, which beans and peas like, okay? Well, you can't plant one in the wrong type of soil, otherwise you're going to get nothing. So which garden bed is going to have which type of soil? What are you going to amend the soil with to get the right pH? All right. Then you get into something like which plants will compete for the same nutrients. Carrots and celery go great together in salads, but they're horrible next to each other in the garden. They both fight for the same nutrients, and if they're fighting for it, neither one of them gets enough and neither one of them do well. Okay. So then, how big is each plant going to get? Do you need to build trellises for things like pole beans or peas? Do you need cages for tomatoes? I'll give you a quick tip here. Don't use store-bought tomato cages. All right, go out and find a hardware store and buy some remesh, you know, that screen you put in concrete. Make your own. They're a lot sturdier, and in the long run, they're a hell of a lot cheaper. What about your plant spacing? Okay, remember, you have to plan on the mature plant size, not the seedling size. You know, you can't plant cabbages 6 inches apart. You'll get tiny heads. If anything, your cabbages will look like Brussels sprouts. Okay. Doing this planning now is important because it tells you how many seedlings you're going to need to start next month. You know, if you only have an 8x10 garden plot, you don't need 20 tomato plants, unless that's all you plan on growing, okay? For example, one of the things I'm planting this year is watermelon. I've allocated a 6x16 plot for them. I'll plant 3 plants, okay? But I'm also planting zucchini, and I've allotted a 1x16 row for them, and I'm planting 32 seedlings. So you can see, depending on the size of the plant, is going to tell you how many you need to do. No need for me to go plant 32 watermelon plants and 32 zucchini plants, because I'd have more watermelon plants than I knew what to do with, all right? You know, the last thing you want to find out is that you have holes in your garden because you didn't plant enough. Now, if you plant too much, if I planted 32 watermelon seeds, I could share them with, you know, friends and family and stuff like that if I wanted to, okay? But then again, I'm doing all the work, and they just go stick it in the ground, and off and running they go, okay? Now, still in January here, this is also the time to buy everything else you need. Fertilizers, if you want to use them, okay? Some are going to be good. Some, you know, depending on how organic you want to go, some people don't want to do any, okay? But if you want to use them, now's the time to get them. Spray bottles, okay? This is one people don't think about. You know, for different homemade pesticides, you know, one good one is a 50-50 mix of milk and water, okay? It's about as organic as you're going to get, but it's great for powdery mildew, okay? So there, you know, you don't have to go out and spend chemicals in milk and water. You go out, buy your tools, your, you know, say shovels, rakes, gloves, okay? Remember, when the masses go after this stuff in about a month or so, the prices are all going to go up, okay? And considering how many people are probably going to jump into the foray of gardening this year, there's going to be a lot of places that are going to be sold out. So, you know, get your stuff before Joe Average goes out to do it, and then you find out you can't get it, okay? This is what you should focus on now, because getting ready now, because when it comes time to start the seedlings, you're going to have a lot to do. I mean, I know I need to start around 400 seedlings mid-February. So I'm not going to have time to run to the store or wait for an online shipment of something that I'm short. And, you know, God knows if you're ordering something online, you know, Walmart, Amazon, pick a store, 2 to 3 day shipping is a week now, you know, even though you're paying for it. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm no master gardener, far from it, but I managed to grow a good amount of food every year. And now that I've been learning to can, I can grow even more because now I know how to preserve it. Okay. See, it wasn't too late for me to learn something this year. Don't believe it's too late for you to learn something new. After all, it's food, which we all want to store. Okay. It's exercise, which we all need. And most certainly it's a stress reliever, which we all definitely need. Okay. Go look at various websites. I like almanac.com, the old Farmer's Almanac, for things like companion planning guides and planning schedules. There's a couple of good YouTube channels that I subscribe to. One is Self-Sufficient Me. Mark is down in Australia. He's absolutely hilarious, and he's very knowledgeable. It's enjoyable watching his videos. Then you've got the M.I. Gardener channel. Luke is a great teacher, and he's got a store with some good quality stuff in it. Seeds, fertilizers, whatever you need. I use some of his stuff. It's good. Okay. But of course, there are many others. I can easily find myself losing an afternoon watching videos to learn stuff, as there's so many good ones out there. Now, personally, I take all I can learn from all of these out there, and I kind of piecemeal it all together, kind of like you all do with prepping channels, because I'm using a prepper's mindset, okay? In other words, what can I store long term? So my take may be different than some of theirs, but in the end, it's all about growing food, okay? I mean, I could plant 40 lettuce plants or whatever, but you can't store lettuce. So unless you're going to eat it, when it's fresh, it's not exactly, something that you need to allocate a lot of land to. Okay. So as we go, I know I've had a few people ask, but I'll share my gardening journey with y'all this spring. Like I said, a couple of people have already asked about me germinating seeds and how I do that. So I'm going to show you what I do. It works great, and what I do will also save you a ton of money, okay? But right now, use the cold weather months to prep for spring. You'll be glad you did. After all, it's what we do, right? Okay. Have a great Sunday, guys. Try to keep it easy and light today. Pinball out.